After I was done paddling around and I was loading the truck back up, I met a guy at the dock who asked if anything's biting, and I told him a little story about almost pulling the one in and messing up my reel and all that, and he got explaining to me about how the river is kind of a constantly changing mix of fresh water and salt water, depending whether the tide's coming in or going out, or depending on how much rain we've had and how much runoff is coming down the river from further up. But when I told him that I almost got one, it got him excited enough to get his fishing rod out and cast from the dock a few times, but not really very much biting. So yeah, Liverpool was a fun little town just for sleep and paddle in the morning, but I wanted to make it to Halifax for Wednesday when the Buskers Festival starts, so I headed off down the road and figured with the little bit of time that I've got, I'll head to Peggy's Cove. I've always heard that name. It's, I guess, a pretty world-famous place for part of the Maritimes, though until I got there, I didn't really understand what's special about it. All that I've really ever heard about it was warnings that you stay off of the black rocks. I've heard that on the internet, and I heard it from my family, and I had a rough idea what they mean. Like, the black rocks are wet, they're slippery, they're close to where the waves are coming in, and I guess the tide out there is real treacherous. It'll throw up a great big wave that'll pull you right in and batter you off of the rocks, and it's happened to countless people over the years, so I didn't really understand the severity of these warnings until I finally got there and took a look. And at the end of the video here, you'll see, like, the video doesn't do it justice, but I got the best shots that I could of just how wild the shoreline is there. So the drive was not too bad. Main highway is no divider, so it's a little sketchy going 100 kilometers an hour with just a yellow line between you and the traffic that's coming the other way just as fast. But still nicer than the 401, I'd say. Not as busy. Nicer countryside that it goes through. And there was a fair bit of construction along the way. Road repair crews, and I don't know if this is where roads got washed out bad by the storm, or if it's just regular yearly maintenance on the minefield that is most roads, but I ended up having to sit and wait and follow the same car for quite a while here and there. I don't mind it, but like when you're not in a hurry, being slowed down by stuff isn't that bad, but even when you're not in a hurry, having to just crawl through traffic when it's hot out and the only thing cooling you off is the wind through the windows, it's not very nice. So yeah, the main highway was blocked off with a barricade here, so everybody had to exit and go down this side road. And yeah, it took about half an hour to move 1 kilometer here. Just sitting, crawling. With the stick shift, it's pretty annoying because every single time we move one miserable little car length, I gotta put in the clutch, pop it in gear, crawl for 3 seconds, and then back into neutral and sit there and wait. And of course, we were crawling on an uphill stretch, so I got lots of practice now with getting started moving without rolling backwards. probably not that good for my clutch, and I know certainly that when the truck sits and idles, it is not good for my oil leak under the hood. I don't know if it's just that I don't notice the leak when I'm going down the road, because whatever little bit of smoke is coming off of it just gets pulled away by the airstream, but I get nervous when I just have to sit and idle in hot traffic and I see a little wisp of smoke coming up from under the hood where oil is burning off of the exhaust manifold. It's leaking out beside there. It's certainly not good, but it's not the end of the world either. It'll still get me around, and maybe one day I'll take the engine apart and redo the head gaskets, and hopefully that's what's wrong with it, because it's at least something I can comprehend how to do. I'm glad I've got an older truck too. There's a lot less computer junk in it. It's more mechanical. You can figure that kind of stuff out just with process of elimination and just keeping track of what order you take stuff apart and put it back together. I'm not too practiced with taking stuff apart like that, but I'm pretty mechanically inclined, so maybe one day when I settle back down, I'll overhaul the engine on this thing and keep it running good. So yeah, this line of traffic that I became a part of was a slow crawl around the part of the highway that's completely barricaded, and eventually the detour came back around to the nice, flat, straight, open road again, and kept making the way out towards Upper Tantalon, which is where the road hooks right down along the shore to Peggy's Cove. It's also where there's a Canadian Tire that I stopped at quick and got a bunch of new fishing line and a big bag of trail mix, because I'm gonna set my fishing rod up again properly so that when I get back out on the water, maybe I'll actually be able to reel something in next. And I forgot while I was there, but I wanted to look around for a fishing net too, for pulling them out of the water when I get them up beside the canoe, because pulling them up on the line just is a great way to snap your line every time. So I need to find a fishing net also. I forgot to pick one up, but it's the way it goes. I don't know where I'll get out paddling next. Probably up in Cape Breton somewhere. People keep telling me it's God's country up there, and I can't wait to find out for myself. But I ain't going straight there yet. I'm gonna stop in Halifax. It's one of the only cities that I'm gonna stop in twice on the trip, and it deserves it. It's a beautiful city. They love their music there. Yeah, the road down to Peggy's Cove is narrow and windy and goes through a bunch of nice little pocket communities along the coast that each have restaurant and campsites, and just it'd be a real nice vacation spot if I wasn't in such a hurry. I'm only passing through quick, but can still appreciate the sights when you're passing through quick. So many buildings around here, they're painted so brightly colored. It's beautiful. It's cheerful. There's too much sad, drab looking buildings everywhere. Like, it's nice that around here they get the bright colors out, and it makes the houses look cheerful, which I guess they need part of the year around here, because I'm getting to see the places when it's nice out, middle of summer, when people want to be around, but the other half of the year, I can't imagine what the winter on the coast would be like. Be damp and slushy a lot of the time. It must just be like where I'm from on Lake Ontario, we get the lake effect snow, and sometimes it'll come in 1.5 feet deep overnight, though that's becoming more and more rare of an occurrence. But I had someone tell me out here they don't get as deep a snow, but you'll get freezing rain so often and constant wind off of the water. It sounds rough to deal with. And they've got all kinds of other natural problems happening now. I don't know if I mentioned it in the one of the last videos there, but as I was coming up from my aunt's place to Liverpool, I drove through a lot of burnt out forest, just black on both sides of the road. A little bit of fresh green coming up underneath, but just the blackened trunks of trees that burnt off and didn't even fall down. They're just standing there dry and dead. It's sad to see. And then there's some spots along this road here out to Peggy's Cove where I noticed it looks like the shoulder of the road's washed right out and undermined a little bit under the pavement even. So fires and storms and a lot of stuff to deal with. But when I got out to the rocks here, Peggy's Cove, couldn't believe how beautiful a little community this is. And how many tourists are here. It's a huge parking lot just packed full of cars and campers and tons of people, and I didn't really understand why until I got up here and actually saw the coastline. It's just the immense power of all of that water. It's open ocean from here all the way to South America or Africa or Europe, whatever direction you're looking. It's just vast, empty, open ocean from here. So those waves pick up a lot of power on their way. And then they get channeled into kind of the narrows of the rocks, and the power of them is hard to comprehend. There's signs everywhere here warning people, you stay off the black rocks. Enough people have died, you don't want to become another one of them. But apparently it keeps happening all the time, people making foolish choices. I seen some people get a lot closer to the water than I was comfortable with, and trying to tell them, just you can't tell people what's good for them, it seems. You can try though.